Good morning. Lovely to see you this morning. It's Friday, and we're looking forward to the weekend. Although it does seem as if it might be quite rainy, and yesterday very windy. Never mind. We are going through 2 Corinthians 2, and I have stopped short at one verse here, and it's verse 14, which says, "Thanks be to God, who in Christ always leads us in triumph, and through us spreads the fragrance of the knowledge of him everywhere." He's been talking about, in this last whole chapter, he's been talking about his difficulties in travelling from place to place, and the hold-ups and the strange things that had happened and everything. And then now he's suddenly thinking that wherever he's gone, the fragrance of the knowledge of Jesus has gone with him, and it goes with us. But he uses these wonderful words, "Thanks be to God who in Christ always leads us in triumph." Now there are a couple of other verses, one in Ephesians, that talk about Jesus leading captivity captive and giving gifts to men, and again another reference to what was known as a triumph. The Romans were very good at celebrating victories, and if a general or an emperor, later on an emperor, but in the early days of Rome, every time a major battle was won and a new territory embraced or captured by the Roman armies, the general who had made the victory would send to Rome and tell them of his success, and be granted by the Senate what was called a triumph. And as time went on, these became more and more elaborate, with each one trying to outdo the previous one. But the principle of the triumph was that the army, the triumphant army, would come back to Rome with the cream of those who had been captured. That would be part of the procession. But also all the victorious soldiers would come, and they would march through Rome. The triumph generally took a whole day. And just at the beginning of the day, there would be speeches and an outline of what the triumph consisted of, what the battles had been like, what had happened, and which of the men had shown particular courage and great achievements, and they would be given awards by the emperor. And then the procession would go through the streets of Rome. Everyone would be out. It'd be a bit like what we in the West Country have. Every town has a carnival in the autumn, and everybody's out on the streets watching the parade of these carnival floats, celebrating local businesses, local clubs and things, all doing a demonstration of what they do in their classes. You know, the pom-pom girls, I don't know what they are, cheerleaders, and the people with their twirler things they throw in the air, and the tap dancing group will come by, the little band will come by, the wrestlers will come by, and all these things go by in the carnival. But in the Roman triumph, it was a bit like that, but what they had in the triumph were depictions of the battles. And even if they'd had a naval win, they would pull depictions of the boats, the ships, and play act the battle on the sea. So very elaborate thing. And everyone who came out would come with flowers and throw them in the way of the triumphant general and his army. And all these flowers, the fragrance of the flowers, would be around. And we can imagine, Rome was very good at bathing, but I think there would have been all sorts of aromas around Rome but all these flowers would bring this beautiful aroma. And he says here, thanks be to God who in Christ always leads us in triumph. You know, we mustn't live our Christian lives as though we are defeated, as though we are just about managing to survive, as though we are just about, by the skin of our teeth, managing to keep our head above water. No, the picture that Paul presents to us here is of the triumphant leader, Jesus, ahead of his triumphant army of which we are a part. And if you haven't ever thought about a Roman triumph, there are some wonderful websites that you can go onto which describe it, a Roman triumph and the sort of things that went on. But there are also, I think, one or two YouTube depictions by those who act out ancient things, trying to show us what these things would be like. And we do know that one or two of the arches in Rome that still survive were arches built so that the triumph of that particular emperor or general could march through under the arch, and the arch would be built, huge arches would be built in preparation for them to come to Rome, depicting on the sides all the activities, all the things that had happened in the campaign that had resulted in the great victory for this returning general. And this is a wonderful picture, but it asks us the question, do you feel like you're in a triumphant procession, being led with great joy and celebration? You know, yes, we have a struggle. Yes, we have, in the natural, we have things we contend against. But in the spiritual, we are victorious. We have won. The last goal has been scored. The winning side is triumphant. The winning side is collecting the trophy. And we are on the winning side. And we need to meditate on this. Think about the great triumph of Jesus. The great triumph of Jesus, who won the greatest battle that will ever be fought on this earth. And he won it so that we could share in his victory. Great thoughts. I will see you again tomorrow. Be very blessed today. Bye-bye.